Assalamu alaikum and good morning, my dear students. I'm Jessica, your new biology teacher. I welcome all of you to today's biology class. So let's begin. In the previous class, you might have learned about the cell, which is known as the fundamental unit of life. Is it? And also about the discovery of cell and different types of cell like nerve cell, blood cells, bone cells, muscle cells, etc. And also about the cell organelles. Is it? So in today's class, we will discuss in detail about the structure of a cell. Okay? So if we take the structure of cell, we can find three important parts which will be present in most of the cells. And they are: first one, plasma membrane or cell membrane. Then second one is the cytoplasm. And third one, the nucleus. And in the case of plants, in addition to the plasma membrane or cell membrane, there will be a cell wall. Okay, so we will discuss about that too in the today's class. Okay, so let's move to today's topics. First, we will discuss about the plasma membrane or cell membrane. This is the outermost covering of the cell that separates the contents of the cell from its external environment. That means the plasma membrane will act as a boundary of the cell. So students, we will be having a front door for our home, right? And our mother will allow only the selected people to get inside of our home. That means she will not allow any kind of strangers or beggars to get inside of our home. They will be asked to stand outside, right? Likewise, this plasma membrane acts as a door for the cell. It will allow only the entry and exit of selected materials into and outside of the cell. That's why the plasma membrane is called a selectively permeable membrane. Okay? That plasma membrane allows or permits the entry and exit of some materials in and out of the cell. It also prevents movement of some other materials. That's why the cell membrane is called as a selectively permeable membrane. So how does the movement of substances takes place into the cell, and how do substances move out of the cell? That is, some substances like carbon dioxide or oxygen can move across the cell membrane by a process called diffusion. You might have diffusion before, right? Then what is diffusion? It is the spontaneous movement of a substance from region of higher concentration to the region of lower concentration. So for example, the substances like CO2, which is a cellular waste, and it will be accumulated inside the cell, and the cell have to eliminate this CO2. So what the cell will do? We know that the CO2 concentration inside the cell will be high if we compare it to the external environment. So the CO2 will move from the higher concentration to the lower concentration, that is from the cell to the outside environment. Okay? And in the case of oxygen, the oxygen concentration will be low inside the cell if we compare to the external environment. So the oxygen will move from the outside environment to the cell. Okay, that's how the diffusion occurs. Thus, the diffusion plays an important role in the gaseous exchange between the cells as well as the cell and its external environment. What about water molecules? Water molecules will also move across the cell, right? And they will move by the process of osmosis. What do you mean by osmosis? Osmosis is the movement of water molecules from a region of higher concentration to the region of lower concentration through a selectively permeable membrane until the concentration has reached equilibrium. Okay. So for knowing more about osmosis, you have to be familiar with three types of solution. So for a solution, you know that there will be solute and a solvent. Is it? And based on the solute concentration, we have three types of solutions. First one is hypertonic solution, and second one is isotonic solution, and third one is hypertonic solution. So what about hypertonic solution? Hypo means below and tonic means strength. So in the case of hypertonic solution, the solute concentration will be low in the solution if we compare it with the cell environment. Okay, so inside the cell, the solute concentration will be high and the water concentration will be low. But in the case of in the solution, the solute concentration is low and the water concentration is high. So what will happen? The water will move from the higher to the lower concentration, that is water will move from the solution to the into the cell, and the cell will swells. Okay, so in the case of hypertonic solution, the water will move into the cell. And next one is isotonic solution. So in the case of isotonic solution, iso means equal and tonic means strength. So in this case, the solute concentration will be equal inside the cell and also outside the cell. So the amount of water getting inside the cell will be equal to the amount of water moving outside the cell. So there will be an equilibrium between the cell and the outside environment. So there will be no difference in the cell. Cell will remain in the normal condition. Okay, so isotonic solution, there will be no movement of water. And in the case of hypertonic solution, the solute concentration will be high in the solution if we compare it with the cell. So what will happen? The water will be more inside the cell and the water will move from cell into the solution, that is outside environment. So if the water will loses from the cell will shrinks, right? So in the case of hypertonic solution, the cell water will move from the cell to the outside environment and the cell get shrinked. Understood? So this is about the three type of solution and its effect by osmosis. So next we were discussing about the plasma membrane, right? So the plasma membrane is flexible and is made up of organic molecules called lipids and proteins. And since this plasma membrane is flexible, it will enable the cell to engulf the food and other materials from its external environment, and this process is called endocytosis. The cell membrane will engulf the food and other materials. Engulf means it will swallow. Okay, and amoeba acquires its food through endocytosis. Okay, and the next one we have the cell wall. Cell wall is present in the case of plants. So in addition to the plasma membrane or cell membrane, the plants will be having an extra covering, that is cell wall. You can see that the animal's body, that means you can see our body is more soft, right? Our skin is soft, right? But in the case of plants, they need a strong covering in order to withstand the external surrounding, right? They have to withstand the external extreme conditions. So they have a strong cell wall in order to protect them. Okay. And this cell wall is mainly composed of a substance called cellulose. It is a complex substance which provides the structural strength to the plants. And in the case of plant cells, if they loses water through osmosis, there is a shrinkage or contraction of the contents of the cell away from the cell wall. That means the cytoplasm will contract away from the cell wall, and this process is known as plasmolysis. So the next important part is the nucleus. So the nucleus is a core part of the cell, and the nucleus is small, round and membrane bound structure found in cell. The nucleus will controls the cell's growth and reproduction because it contains cell's hereditary information. Inside the nucleus, the genetic information or genetic material is present. That's why it controls the cell's growth and reproduction. And this nucleus has a double layered membrane covering called as nuclear membrane. And the nuclear membrane has pores which allow the transfer of material from inside the nucleus to its outside, that is the outside surrounding, that is the cytoplasm. We will discuss later. Okay, So the nuclear membrane contains pores and it allows the transfer of material from inside the nucleus to its outside. Okay, and the nucleus contains chromosomes, which is the genetic material. Okay, the chromosomes contain DNA and nuclear proteins. So these chromosomes will be visible only at the time of division. Okay, so during the resting stage of the cell, the nucleus contains some thread-like structures called chromatin, and the chromatin contains DNA, RNA and proteins, and the nucleus is about to divide. The chromatin condenses together and form DNA, okay, or chromosomes. So the DNA is present as part of the chromatin material. Chromatin material is visible as entangled mass of thread-like structures. Whenever the cell is about to divide, the chromatin material gets organized into the chromosomes. So in the case of some organisms like bacteria, the nuclear region of the cell may be poorly defined due to the absence of nuclear membrane, and such an undefined nuclear region containing only nucleic acids, that is DNA or RNA, is called a nucleoid. Such organisms whose cells lack a nuclear membrane are called prokaryotes. Pro means primitive or primary and karyote means nucleus. Organisms with the cells having a nuclear membrane are called eukaryotes. So there are two kinds of cells, that are prokaryotic cells and eukaryotic cells. Prokaryotic cells, in the nuclear membrane will be absent, and in the case of eukaryotic cells, the nuclear membrane will be present. And also in the prokaryotic cells, most of the cytoplasmic organelles will be absent, and it will be present in the eukaryotic cells. So this is about the nucleus. And next we have another important part, that is cytoplasm. The cytoplasm is a fluid filled area between the nuclear envelope and the plasma membrane. It contains many specialized cell organelles, and each organelles perform a specific function for the cell. So this is about the important parts of the cell, that are plasma membrane or cell membrane, then what else? The cell wall present in the plants, then the nucleus and cytoplasm. Okay. So students, hope that you have understood the topics that we discussed today. So if you have any doubts, we will clear it in the live classes. Okay. Thank you.